All right, guys, let's see what we got today, March 12th, 2023. Let's check if the settings are better for the video, and hopefully the audio is good too. So let's see what we got for today. Coming at you for the live stream. I played with the settings if you were here last time, and I want to see how it looks, how it sounds. Hopefully it's much improved, but hey, if it was one live stream where we didn't really do well with it, I'll take it because it's a learning experience just like everything. So what's going on, my PT peeps, my Walking Dead family, my fighters? It's March 12th, 2023 as I make this video, and live stream we'll talk about the Walking Dead universe, of course, the Walking Dead just as a whole. Thank you, Mike, for letting me know the sound is good. And The Last of Us tonight is the season 1 finale. And so we'll see how it goes down tonight. It's also daylight savings, which is probably going to throw some people off. And also, now it's kind of weird. All you got to do is usually change your stove, your microwave, maybe your air conditioning thing in your car. But your phone should update itself, and your laptop and your computer and everything else anything smart related should be able to do it. Smart devices, right? So, what's going on, guys? We're going to talk about a bunch of different topics. Top chats, super chats are always welcome. Always want to talk about a bunch of different things, different shows that we're watching. Negan1 says, Arizona doesn't change time. Wow, so that's cool. Is it like a newer thing? Because I'm hoping that Florida, where I live, does, because it's annoying. For the next 3 weeks or so, it's going to be like, lost an hour. We gotta wake up. I just wake up tired, feeling tired. It's like one of those things where you're like, I'm already drained, losing an hour, even if we didn't do anything. Nothing changed. We just lost an hour. So we got some news about the Walking Dead universe, of course. We got a bunch of things. Yeah, Negan says, no, been this way for a long time. That's good. That's kind of the way it should be, in my opinion. I think it's outdated for daylight savings myself. But hopefully, Mike says the sound is good. Hopefully the video looks good. It looks much better on the YouTube thing, on what I can see, the preview video that I'm seeing. And I played with the settings after last time, and it's definitely something that I wanted to vastly improve since last live stream. And like I said, hopefully it's last. Now I have a suggestion. The stream's current bitrate is higher than the recommended bitrate. Okay, well, I guess that's better than what it is, right? It's better to have more than less. So thank you guys for taking the time to be here. Mike, Negan1, Big Tree, Kami, John, Christopher, Epic Zombie Killer, and everyone else that's going to join. So Christopher says, wanted to say hi, first time to catch you online. Very cool, Chris. You're always welcome. We're here basically every Sunday. Sometimes I miss a Sunday or two if I'm on vacation or I go away or I have other, predicaments or whatever, things going around, or other scheduling conflicts. Let's see. Michael Singer says, you heard the new show by Kiefer Sutherland show called Rabbit Hole. I heard something about that. I like Kiefer Sutherland. We actually share the same birthday, which is in December. But I don't know. I haven't really heard much about Rabbit Hole myself, but I heard a couple things on there as well. Epic Zombie Killer says, hey, Brian, The Last of Us season 1, it flew by, man. It always does. Like, good shows always fly by. Other shows just drag on. I mean, either way, if a show is usually 8 episodes and they take a break, or 10 episodes or 6 episodes and they take a break, whatever it is, it's just goes by quickly. Like, so Fear the Walking Dead comes back in May, and it's going to be 6 episodes, which is 6 weeks. That's going to go by really fast, and then we'll go right into the Maggie stuff, the Maggie and Negan Dead City show. And then we'll see the other part of Fear the Walking Dead, 6 episodes. And then Fear the Walking Dead's over. And then we'll probably have the Comic-Con trailers for whatever they're going to show us in July. The Daryl show, I'm guessing, will be in October. And it stinks because all these shows are 6 episodes at a pop. Right? So Fear the Walking Dead is 6 episodes, then a break. Maggie and Negan is 6 episodes, then that's the end of the season. Then we have the other 6 episodes. So it's like 6 episodes, 6 episodes, 6 more episodes, then another 6 episodes. And then the Roshon show is going to be 6 episodes. 6 episodes. That's what they're doing. And the first season of The Walking Dead was 6 episodes. So we're kind of used to it. We're kind of not. It's kind of weird. We're kind of spoiled if you think about it. Remember back in the day, we have to watch a show, whether you liked, I don't know, let's use Seinfeld, for example, or Friends or whatever. And you go and you watch the TV show and it's coming on because, I didn't have all these channels like we have now. We didn't have streaming services where there was no Netflix. We had Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS. And then after a while, we got basic cable. We got, more channels, ESPN and everything. And you'd have to catch the shows when they were going to air that Sunday or Thursday or Saturday or whatever it was, Tuesdays or whatever they were. And now you can pretty much watch stuff whenever you want. Imagine missing The Walking Dead on Sunday and then you have to watch it you're out. It would throw things all out of whack. But now you can record it or you can watch it on this streaming service or watching there. And it's pretty amazing and it's pretty awesome. People don't know that if you didn't have that before. But it's pretty good perspective if you look at wow, we're pretty well off here, and it's just pretty awesome to see a good perspective. Let me see. I saw my guy John. I think you posted something in Get Around WrestleMania. He wrote Q&A. Was Shane right? Well, was Shane right about what? That Rick can't protect his family. That he was a better father and a better person, and you're weak, Rick, you're weak, or whatever, what Shane said. Speaking about Shane, John Bernthal, that is, he's going to reprise his role as Punisher, or the Punisher, on the Daredevil show Born Again on Disney Plus, which is awesome, because I think Frank Castle has been played by a multitude of people at this point. Not in the cinematic universe of Marvel or any other shows or anything there, but I think John Bernthal and Charlie Cox staying in their roles as Daredevil and Punisher is going to help. I don't like it, and that's probably a big problem with the DC universe, that they have all these different people playing different, how many Batman have we had, how many Jokers have we had, how many different characters have we have played all these different people, when Marvel has basically kept the same casting. Of course there's exceptions like the Hulk and a couple other characters here and there, War Machine, but other than that it was basically the same characters, the main characters throughout the entire universe there. Spider-Man was kind of a different thing, but that was Sony and not Marvel and stuff, and Fox and Disney now. But John Bernthal was pretty awesome as the Punisher, and I'm glad to see that. And if you ever get a chance to meet John Bernthal, I highly recommend it. He was awesome when my wife and I met him on the Walker Stalker cruise a couple years ago now, which was pretty awesome too. So, so if you think about it, and Shane is still a debated character as we're still talking about him today with John and a couple of people talking about him. But is he a villain? Was he a villain? Was he the first villain of The Walking Dead? Some people say yes. Some people say no. Some people love the character. Some people hated him. Some said he was right. He was misunderstood. But I actually, like the character of Shane. Without Shane, The Walking Dead would not have been as exciting or interesting in the first 2 seasons, because Shane wasn't in the third. Well, he was in very cameos in third season and ninth season and stuff. But you know what I'm saying. The first things are he's pretty much a character that was, I don't know, I wouldn't say built for the zombie apocalypse, but he would thrive in it too. And that's an interesting look at, it's interesting when they have writing of a character that starts off one way, like a good guy or a bad guy, and then they have another character, or the character evolves, whether they start off as good, end up bad, or bad, end up good, or vice versa, or they're, gray, because things aren't black or white, good or bad, most times. I mean, there's ends of the spectrum people in there too, but basically people would be a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of good, a little bit of bad. Hopefully the good outweighs the bad, and vice versa. And that's why I really like the idea of writing characters like that, or seeing characters in shows, because it's kind of not realistic. I said that you have a person that is so good all the time, like Morgan, right? Morgan was a realistic character, and he was this and he was that, and then he went insane, and then he lost his son, and he lost his wife, and here and this and that, and then he was clear mode. Everybody gets killed. Everybody is this. He's in absolutes. And if you know anything about the Star Wars universe, you don't want to be in absolutes because that's the Sith way and the bad way of doing things. But he was going clear mode. No one survives. No one's this. Don't ever be sorry. Do what you got to do. And then he goes from clear mode, kill mode, take everybody out mode to everyone's good. Everyone has purpose. Everyone's this. And it's like you can't have it either way. And that was an annoying part of Morgan. And then the character kind of mellowed out and did what he had to do. And then it was like, okay, let's change this character again. That was the major character that changed one of the most, like, he's probably one of the most changeable characters in the Walking Dead universe. Carol's another one, and people there too, because again, characters that changed at the beginning are weak. Like Carol was weak in the first couple seasons, right? She was not a character that we're like, whoa, like by the time season 5, season 6, she was a totally different character. But it took all that time in character development. What if Carol got killed off in season 3 like she was supposed to? It was between her and T-Dog. They had Carol initially, then they changed it and got rid of T-Dog instead of Carol. Imagine if Carol wasn't around. Who saves in that terminus? Who does this? Who does all these things? It just wouldn't be the same. And the same thing with Daryl. What if Daryl wasn't supposed to make it out of the first season? But he did, and changed the course of history in the Walking Dead universe, and now he's in France. And so, yeah. Let me see some of these questions. Matisse asks, do you like more Joel Miller or Rick Grimes? Well, I mean, that's not fair to say because Rick Grimes was around for 9 seasons of a show and so much more character development. Joel has been in 9 episodes starting tonight, the 9th episode. I mean, I like Pedro, I like Andrew, I like Joel, I like Rick, I like both the characters. I can't say who do you like more because they're just different. Like Rick's got great qualities and made some mistakes and did great things and had moments, and Joel was pretty much done nothing wrong the entire time. But again, it's only been 8 episodes and the 9th episode tonight. Very excited, but also kind of sad because it's the final episode of the season, and then we got to wait probably, 2 years or so. I don't know when the second season is going to come out, but it's a hit. It's done great, and it's filled the void somewhat for the apocalyptic shows that we know and love too. Epic Zombie Killer. Hey, Brian, do you probably think Dale should have lived longer and not have died in season 2? Dale was supposed to live longer. Jeffrey DeMunn, who plays Dale, he had a problem after Frank Darabont got fired from The Walking Dead. He wanted to be off the show. He was Frank Darabont's guy. He was ride or die with Frank. Frank went away, so Dale was going to go away. Then he tried to back out of it and was like, oh, actually, I want to stay. I'm sorry. Blah, 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 blah. They're like, too late. Sorry, brother. Boom. Daryl takes him out. Dale, to me, is an annoying character. Dale was, especially with the whole thing with, I'm blanking on the guy's name. The guy that we thought could have been a savior, could have been this, could have been that. But let me know in the comments, what was that guy's name? But Dale seemed like a character that was just, I don't know, that annoying. Like, he was fine in the first season. He was fine with the RV, and he was just like, and then all of a sudden, he just got, I don't know how to say it, like obnoxious or overbearing, annoying, preachy. Like, I don't know. He was just some of those characters that were like, it was the guy, Randall. That was his name. And he was so annoying with him. He's like, well, you're going to accuse him of crimes that he didn't already commit yet. Well, yeah, you don't know what he's going to do. He already knows who the Greens are, and he knows who Maggie is, and he knows he's dangerous out there. And then it was this whole big debate, like, what should we do? Should we not? Should we here and there too? And him and Shane and him and Andrea. And then the whole thing with Glenn when he was like, did you ever think about his father? What her father would think? And you're like, no, I thought about doing this and doing that. Come on, Dale. Just shut up. Like, Dale was just annoying in my book, and it was just annoying. So if some people love Dale, there's a lot of Dale supporters. And also, people love Dale because he got killed off in 2 seasons, right? He didn't have anything to really do anything later on. He was nothing after that show. Same thing with Carl. People love Carl now. But Carl was annoying for so many seasons of the thing, right? But he got better with age, and then he was killed premature, and he was supposed to carry the show, and it's the biggest mistake ever. I get it. I understand that too. But, yeah. Colt says Dale's the GOAT. The GOAT of what? The what? Like, what is he? Like, come on. Right, exactly. Rob K. Dale, get off my lawn. He's that annoying neighbor that's like, you're blocking the drive. You're blocking the sidewalk. That's that guy. That's all the people I live around in my neighborhood. He's the old timer like that. Like, come on, right? And I understand Dale's purpose. Dale's purpose was to, be the moral compass and to be the voice of reason, but he was just annoying, right? Yeah, legend status. Yeah, Colt, have a good one, bro. If you think Dale is legend status, then you don't know what a legend status is. Like, people every say the GOAT, the GOAT, the GOAT, the GOAT, the GOAT. He's the GOAT. She's the GOAT, the GOAT, the GOAT. No, Dale is nowhere near close to a greatest of all time character in anything at all, in my opinion. Too. Do you agree? Disagree? Like, what do you think? I like how this turned into a Dale conversation. No. So, The Last of Us tonight is going to be a pretty fun episode for the story. I don't know if it's going to be fun. I don't know why he's fun. But it's going to be a thing where he's going to be an interesting to see where it goes. It's supposed to be... It's going to be one of those things where we're going to see how it's going to set up the second season. What's going to happen. The big question is, if you know the story and the games of, The Last of Us, are we going to see Abby? That's the big question. Will we see a young Abby in the episode? I think we will. And if you know who Abby is, if you guys know, then it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens with that, with Joel, Ellie, and the Fireflies. But we'll see. Yeah. Let me see. This guy says, Carol ain't that big. You can have The Walking Dead with Carol. She's not that big. Well, he's probably meant without Carol. But, okay, go back and watch stuff and think about the huge Carol moments after season 4, season 5. The huge, okay, 2 things alone are iconic with The Walking Dead, right? One is look at the flowers. If I say look at the flowers to you and any other Walking Dead fan, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what scene I'm talking about and who said it, right? Carol. Who saved the people from Terminus? You know exactly who it was. Carol. Who saved them from the wolves? Carol. Who did a bunch of things with Daryl? Carol. Who's a top 5 character? You can say Rick, Daryl, Michonne, Negan, but it's got to be, for a lot of people, Carol is a top 5 character. That's just my opinion, and I'd like to see what you guys think. What do you think? Carol is more the GOAT than Dale ever could be. I mean, come on, right? Dale just doesn't even, he's not even I don't know. He might be like the 25th best character. Right. And Kami says, I have a Look at the Flowers t-shirt. Right. You don't have anything related to Dale, right? Somebody should make the Dale face shirt, right? Like that dumb face he's giving Andrea, like, you're going to stay? Like that, like that's what it is. You have Carol's cookies. Look at the flower. Like, so many things, right? Come on. So you're crazy, Colt. If you think you're a troll, you're trolling for sure, bro. Colt the troll is what it's going. If you're thinking that Dale is better than Carol, that's hilarious, right? So, but anyway, so The Last of Us season finale tonight. We got so the Rick and Michonne show news is that they were filming at the Monmouth Mall in New Jersey. I want to say that Denai was filming there. There was no filming pictures over there. It was just an outside picture of JCPenney's at the Monmouth Mall is where they were filming. So it's interesting to see what's going to happen with this show. So the idea was that I heard was that they're going to film a lot in New Jersey for a while, and then switch down to Georgia. So we're already in mid-March. So right now it's been nothing but filming in New Jersey. It's been all in New Jersey. So we'll see if they're going to switch, if they're going to move. But right now, I would assume they're probably around episode 3, into episode 3 filming, based on the time, if it's 2 weeks per episode. Because, it's been about a month or so coming up. And if that's, 2 weeks, they've probably finished around episode 2 and going to start 3 or around there. I don't know if they're going to film in order, out of order, what they got to do for filming locations. But it's pretty cool. The other thing is, Kimmy says, I won a Carol cookie tray in a Walking Dead fan stream. Pretty cool. Is it the one with the, it's like a white tray with blue lettering and it's got brass knuckles as handles? Is that the Carol cookie tray? I remember them having something like that on the Walking Dead shop or something like that too. That's the one I remember. Yeah, and Rob K says, Carol has one of the best character arcs on the show. I agree. Jonathan Water, have you ever attempted to make Carol's cookies? No, I have not. I don't know if I could. I mean, I could cook, I can bake, I can whatever. But I don't know. I've never tried to make that. I've seen the recipe on there, but I've never attempted. I'm not sure. I basically buy my cookies, or my wife makes cookies in there too. I leave it to her. She's much better at it than me. So. Yeah, so it's kind of turned into this whole like big debate about Carol and this and that. But to me, some of the biggest arcs on the show are Carol, obviously, Morgan. Daryl has a huge arc too. Like Daryl was an outsider with Merle, and Daryl wasn't even supposed to exist. It was just going to be Merle Dixon, and then they liked him so much that they made the Dixon brothers. And look at that change. Like, that's one of the biggest changes ever on the show. Like, it's huge. And another major character arc is Negan. Negan was a villain to helping the group. Now he's going to be on a show with Maggie. Right? I mean, you never would have thought that. If you knew that Negan was going to be on the show and you knew what the character was and you knew what's going to happen with Glenn and the lineup and all this stuff, would you ever think that Maggie and Negan were ever going to have a show together, work together, be connected the way they were? It seems forced in a lot of aspects so far, but it's something that I'm okay with until I'm not. I just want to know. I always have a lot of questions and I have a lot of things, and some people think I'm being negative with it, but I'm just being, open with my thoughts and my questions and my ideas and my perception of it, because I'm interested to see what happens with these characters. If I didn't care about the Walking Dead universe, I wouldn't talk about it anymore. I would make other videos, or I wouldn't make videos, or I would go do other stuff, right? The same thing with Fear the Walking Dead. That show is... Yeah. Colt, you're saying his order is Rick, Morgan, Daryl, Negan, and Michonne. Where's your boy at? The GOAT would be number 1. That's what a GOAT is. The greatest. That's number 1, right? Come on. But, so, Fear the Walking Dead is ending this year. And I'm glad, because the show is just all over the place, right? So, I believe they just wrapped filming this week. Whether it was yesterday or Friday or this, or maybe they got one more day of filming. I don't know, but they're right around done. A lot of actors have said they're done. Luciana, Denai Garcia, said on Instagram that she's done. Grace, I forget her name. The actress's real name, but she is hanging up her boots. Her boots are done, and she's done filming. They said Coleman Domingo, plays Strand, is done filming. I think Sherry and Dwight are done filming. So the aspect is that if they make it this far, it's the end of the series. And if they just got done filming now, it pretty much confirms that Grace, Luciana, Sherry, Dwight, Strand all make it to the end. And so I personally think that we're going to have pretty much all the characters on Fear the Walking Dead survive. We may have a character death or two. It's going to be like the Rosita death, right? In the final season of The Walking Dead, all 24 episodes, who did we lose? Alden and Rosita and Luke and Jules. 4 people, right? not a big death sequence or enough characters that are dying at all. So out of all the characters that survived, that's a huge percentage of characters that survived more than died. I think it's going to be a very similar thing happening on Fear the Walking Dead. I don't think Morgan could die. I don't think Madison's going to die. I don't think anything. The big question is, will we see Alicia? Will we see Althea? Will we see, I could see someone like Daniel dying. I could see someone like, I don't know what's going to happen with Charlie, what's going to happen with Madison, Charlie and Madison, what's going to happen with, a bunch of characters like June. But I think a lot of those characters make it to the end too. So. Yeah. No, so he wrote, well, Dale is like top 15, but he's still overrated. I don't understand. No, he'd be underrated in your book. He's not overrated. Overrated means rated too high. I think he's overrated. You think he's underrated. So Marco. Yeah, Marco's the GOAT. Yeah, Marco. Right. So hopefully you guys have seen some movies, shows, things on recommendations on there too. I always like to hear your recommendations for different shows and stuff to watch. What do we watch? We haven't watched any movies recently. Well, we watched like Terminator 2 yesterday. It was on MGM Plus, which is Epic, which used to be Epix, but MGM Plus. Terminator 2 was on, and it's one of those movies where I'll always throw it on if I see it, and I'll just watch it, like Goodfellas or certain movies I'll just watch on there. What are your movies that if it's on TV, or Good Will Hunting, like if it's on TV or whatever, you'll watch a couple minutes of it, like Endgame or Infinity War, stuff like that. I'll always watch a couple minutes of it and then go on to another channel or put something else on. But now we haven't really watched too much other stuff. There really has been like kind of a lull with stuff. I think we're between shows or movies right now. Back to the Future is always a good one. I have not seen Scream 6. I haven't seen any movies like that. The last movies I watched were Knock at the Cabin, The Whale. Yeah, those were the last movies that I really watched. And Sick. We finished that movie, that series, Poker Face, on Peacock. And that was interesting. It was a different kind of show. They had a lot of celebrities on that series in different episodes, and I'm excited to see if we're going to get a second season. And I'm interested to see if where it goes from that. And I like different shows. Like I said before, I like different things. I don't want to see the same old cookie cutter stuff over and over and over again too. Epic Zombie Killer. Hey Brian, do you see The Walking Dead, Raise the Dead being good? Well, Raise the Dead is the Daryl show. I've seen different reports that they're confirming, like nothing from The Walking Dead. It's always other things like Walking Dead Portal or Walking Dead U filming, or like other people outside of there that they've done their research and due diligence, and they think that it's going to be called The Walking Dead Raise the Dead. Raise the Dead being the Daryl show. I hope it's good. If it doesn't, at best, it'll answer what happened at the post-credit scene or sequence of The World Beyond with the France CDC type of thing there too. I hope it's good. I'm rooting for it. I'm rooting for all the shows. I'm not like, oh, I love Daryl and Norman Reedus is great. It's good. So I hope I hope it does well. I just hope it's not filler. I hope it's not a waste of time. And we just, I just hope it's, like I said, not a waste of time. I hope it's good. It'll probably be decent, but I don't know if it's going to be a great show. We'll see. Carol asks, what is my opinion of Knock at the Cabin? I liked Knock at the Cabin. I like Dave Bautista. I like M. Night Shyamalan's storytelling and how he does things and how he portrays things. Not in all his movies. Majority of his movies I've liked, but I don't really care that much about, it's an M. Night Shyamalan movie. But, if his movies are good, then I watch it. But Knock at the Cabin, I don't want to give too much away, but it's supposedly a book, and it's this group goes to a cabin kind of in the middle of nowhere, I think in Pennsylvania. And then Batista and a group of people have their own agenda, and there's this whole story that unfolds, and stuff is happening on there too. And I never read the book, so I don't know if the book's better there too, but I liked it. It's something different. I think some people will like it. I think some people will love it. Some people will think it was okay, and some people are like, it was stupid. But I thought it was a decent, different kind of movie and different kind of story. And I recommend seeing it. You probably want to rent it on like a streaming service, or probably just wait for a streaming service. If not, rent it on one of the places you can digitally download it. But yeah, I would wait for it. It's probably a streaming video. Wait till it comes on HBO or wherever it's going to be on there too. But definitely check it out. Let me see some of the questions just catching up on here too. Yeah, Kelly says, sorry I was late. Was watching The Last of Us again. Such a great episode 8, best one yet. Also, I miss Daryl. We'll see Daryl pretty soon, in his show. But yeah, so The Last of Us last episode 8 was good. Did you guys enjoy it? What did you guys think of the 8th episode, the latest episode of The Last of Us? So I thought it was pretty good. I think it's a good setup with the show, what it had to be. We kind of knew what was going to happen with Ellie. And so if you play the video games, you knew it was going to be the time where you take control of Ellie in the game. And we meet, I forget the guy's name, but the leader of the group. That was terrible. And they expanded on his character a little bit. They went to the route of them eating people. And yeah, Wilson's Terminus 2.0. I was going to make a video like, haven't we seen this before? Like a cult leader, kind of weird guy that is... feeding his people, but he's feeding them people. And that's, so I guess, at the beginning of the episode, we find out that Joel, I'm guessing it's Joel, killed the guy at the university when he got stabbed with the bat that broke. He killed that guy, and that was the dad of the woman, of the child, and the woman that was crying. Like the woman that was crying, or the girl that was crying, said they want to bury their dad. But they ate their dad. That's who they. I'm guessing they ate him. Is what I'm guessing is what it was. Or they ate other people, and he was one of the bodies that they're going to eat too. So we see the bodies hanging, which was kind of gross. Then the whole thing with the other thing that I thought was pretty laughable was that the restaurant gets on fire, and it's a like a boss battle scene in the video game. And Ellie has to kill this guy, and she does in the game, and also in the series, the TV series. But the whole restaurant is on fire, and this guy only cares about getting to Ellie. Like, if the whole building was on fire, you just leave the building. She's gonna burn up, or try to put the fire out at least, or do something like that. But his whole purpose was to get to Ellie, and Ellie was, he was some terrible pedophile guy that was, just and he was a teacher or something. Evidently, it was terrible. And Ellie just defends herself, and then ends up taking this guy out. It's a crazy sequence, and we don't feel bad for the guy because he's a terrible person, evidently. And then Ellie, saves Joel with the penicillin, and they move on. And it was they move on to the next episode. But I guess Joel is fine now, which we knew he would survive after. And it worked out well that they gave her liquid penicillin to inject in Pedro Pascal. And luckily he wasn't allergic, like a lot of people are allergic to to penicillin. And it wasn't tablets, because Joel was in no way of taking a tablet or capsule or any kind of pill. But it was injectable, and it worked out very well, very nicely. So... I have not seen Scream 6 yet. So some people are saying that it was good. Some people liked it. Some people didn't like it. But yeah, that's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, some people like movies that I don't, and I like movies that people don't like. But it's all good. Scream is the new horror genre that's gone on way too long, right? The first Scream is great. Then they go off the deep end with this and that, and they didn't bring Sydney back. And you're like, anytime you don't bring a character back that is essential in the first movie, after a while, or the second movie, or the third movie, or the fourth movie, or the fifth movie, and now the sixth movie. It's just a little crazy of how they're doing. And I just hate the horror tropes that they do basically all the time. Like, the guy's dressed up in the outfit and they have him dead to rights and they shoot him in the chest and they're like, all right, come on, let's slowly walk to the elevator now. Oh yeah, we made it. I can't believe we're going to be okay. and then you get killed and the guy gets away, and then it's like every time. And then it's like, is there another one? Are there two? Or there that? It's like, we get it. We get the whole premise that you have to keep the person alive to keep it going until the very end, because there's 20 minutes left and you can't just end it there. What would you do? But it's just kind of like what horror stuff does, and a lot of times it's just laughable. So, but no, I haven't really seen that, and I haven't really seen too much of that. Those things. So I have watched. We started this docuseries on Netflix. And I don't know if it's 3 episodes or 4, but we watched the first 2 episodes. And it's called Don't Answer the Phone, I think, or something like that. And it's a true story about this guy that, I don't want to give too much away, but he evidently was calling fast food restaurants and acting like he was a police officer, and got the manager to talk to one of their employees. And then ended up doing all these crazy things because the guy told him he was a police officer, and it's this crazy story. And it happened in Kentucky, and then it happened in Massachusetts, and then they did a research, and it happens like all over the place throughout the country. And we didn't finish it yet, but it's definitely a crazy documentary about this guy that was just, I don't know, like, it's just crazy to think about it too. Like, and as we're watching it, we're like, okay, if I was the manager and some guy called up acting like he's saying he was the police officer from such and such county or whatever, and he was saying that someone stole a purse or stole money out of a purse, and it fits the description of so-and-so, do you have anybody like that? And they always have a female person there that fits the description. They're not saying a name, they're saying a description of the person. And they'd be like, oh, you can do this or this. And I'd be like, well, I have a restaurant to run if you want to come do this, because it's over the phone. It's not in person. Some guy doesn't show up acting like he's a cop. It's over the phone. And it's just the first thing I'd be like, well, this seems weird. Why are you not here in person? If you need to come here and do this, we'll handle it when you get here. But I have to, take the side of my employee. And like so many of the managers that they were talking about this there, it sounded like they were just doing it because this guy on the phone was a police officer. And you're like, what? Like, it just doesn't add up. And I'd be like, okay, if you're a police officer, come down here. We'll handle it when you get here. Not over the phone. Like, no, it's the same thing when people call up like the IRS or some bank or somebody that's a hoax or a scheme, or he's a scammer, right? And they call up and they're like, you've won the Jamaican lottery. You need to send us $60,000 for the taxes, and then we'll send you the money. And then people do it. People have been doing it too. Like, people got scammed out of hundreds of thousands of dollars because they're paying this person money that they're never going to get back because it's a fraudulent call, a scam call. And now on our cell phones, we get scammed likely and all this other stuff. But how many people were burned because they got money sent to them, thinking that they won some prize or something, or the IRS is calling you up to be like, well, you need to pay this thing or you're going to go to jail. They will never call you up. They will send something in the mail. They will send you correspondence that way. And it's just crazy to think that. Exactly. Like somebody, or you get now you get emails, right? You'll get emails from Nigeria or South Africa or some other country. It's never like in the United States. It's always somewhere else. And it's, you're the beneficiary of blah, 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 blah. This guy said, and you're like, okay. And then there's stuff that's misspelled wrong and it's just laughable. And you're like there. And it's just like, come on, right? But, I was watching that documentary about it. And the other one we finished was a documentary called The Heist or something like that too. And it was a series about a different, group. There was like 2 parts of every story, and it was different people that were basically robbing things. And the last one we watched was this guy who worked in Kentucky, another Kentucky thing, that worked for Buffalo Trace Distillery, like a brewing company. And it's bourbon, Pappy Van Winkle or something, and they ended up taking the bottles and selling them because the bottles were going for thousands of dollars. and there was, taking barrels and selling them and this and getting arrested for it. It's a crazy story, but it's a true story too. I love true stories because you get to see like, wow, that's crazy, and it just has more credibility if something's a true story or based on a true story too. So yeah. Jonathan asks, what if Carl and Sophia switched deaths? That would be a different take on it too, because the Carol arc, if Sophia lived, Carol doesn't really become the Carol that we know and love, I'm guessing. She's Lori, Mama Bear, to protect Carl. Or Sophia is like the annoying kid that doesn't stay in the house, right? I don't know. But I don't know. The Sophia death, Sophia lives in the comic. Sophia and Carl actually end up together in the comic. So it's one of those things where that would have been cool to see, but it didn't. Do you think we will see Alicia in the final season or in one of the spinoffs? I don't know. Alicia is an outlier that it's crazy to think that Alicia's last season was season 7. She was done with the show. She didn't want to do it. She was done with that. She was over it. She was done with Fear the Walking Dead. And then they're like, season 8's the last season. So they talk to her. Do they pay her more money? Do they, try to get her back for an episode? Because all we need is one episode. We don't need her to be a big character at all. We do want to see, I know a lot of people, myself included, want to see Alicia and Madison. I don't like Madison, but Madison is a character that's there, whether I like it or not. I do think Alicia and Madison should be reunited, because if the show ends without them seeing each other again, that's a major plot hole. But what else is new? The Walking Dead universe and Fear the Walking Dead love to have plot holes, things, and people are going to be like, will Madison see Alicia? Is Alicia going to see Madison? Is there going to be a spinoff about that? Will they have another show? Because I would assume that spinoffs are far cheaper to make than the main show or even Fear the Walking Dead, because there's so many casts. Like on the spinoffs, you got Daryl, he's big bucks. Maggie and Negan probably cost a lot of money, and Rick and Michonne cost a lot of money, right? And then you have the newcomers and the new stuff and whatever too, that if it's an actor that has been in a lot of stuff, they have a rate that I would assume is going to be expensive. But that's different. You don't have to have all these people. Look at all the cast that's on Fear the Walking Dead or Walking Dead. It's drastically different. So you would cut costs big time. So you want the Walking Dead, but you want it, universe to continue, but at a cheaper cost. Is one of the reasons, I'm guessing, too. Tim Simmons says, before RoboKiller was getting calls on a warranty on my 86 4x4 Chevy truck, or they call about like my Chevy Camaro or something. It's like, I never had a Chevy Camaro. You're like, nah, I don't have a Corvette. Sorry, I wish, but I don't, Jonathan says, Q&A, did you catch Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey? If so, is it? I've never watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. That just seems like ridiculous. Like, I don't need to see like Winnie the Pooh as like a killer bear or whatever he is, right? I don't need to see that. Like, what am I looking at here? I don't need to see, like, I don't need to see certain things changed into like a horror aspect that really don't need to be. It's just kind of laughable. It might be one of those things where I've watched, I never knew existed, but there was a documentary about the movie Troll 2, and I never saw it. I watched the documentary, and they were talking about the actors and the director and how laughable it was when they filmed and this and that. So then I was like, I got to go watch this movie because it's terrible. Like, it was rated and ranked as like the worst movie ever made on IMDb or whatever. Troll 2. I don't know if it still is, or it's probably up there, right? So I was like, man, I got to watch this movie. And so then I found it on one of the streaming services or whatever, and I watched it. And it's pretty terrible. And I don't know if it's the worst movie ever, but it's definitely up there. There's certain movies that are like, man, that's pretty bad. And so I don't know. I might have to watch that. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, right? That just sounds bad. Epic Zombie Killer. Hey, Brian, do you think it's possible that we'll have Madison be in other spinoffs like Dead City or Raise the Dead? I don't know. Like, I don't know what their plan is. Like, to me, Madison being back doesn't make sense in the Walking Dead universe at all. Killing her off didn't make sense either. But killing her off and then not killing her off, basically then bringing her back in a way, I don't know. Like, I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me to carry the character on. But they brought her back, and so we got to deal with it. And season 7 was terrible, and they brought her back. So that same season, so I don't know. James asks, what is your favorite movie of all time? I don't know. It used to, years ago. It was, I really liked Bad Boys 2 because it's action, it's funny, it's comedy, it's all the things I like in a movie. And I don't know. Now it's tough. I don't have a favorite. I like different movies for different reasons. I can't really say where I like, that's my favorite movie. Like, it's tough to even say I like Goodfellas and Godfather and Terminator 2 and Bad Boys 2 and Rocky, all the different Rocky movies. And it's like, it's just crazy. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's tough to say. It's tough to say in one movie that I'm like, that's my favorite movie. Even like comedy-wise or this-wise, action-wise, there's just so many different movies that I like. It's tough to say. And the good thing is that I don't have to. I can watch a different movie at different times for different reasons. Like, I don't have a favorite song. I like different songs and different genres for different times, right? That's just me, but I'm sure we all do, right? But, yeah. Doreen says, Madison needs to reunite with Alicia, then both die. I'm clearly over it. Yeah. Eventually, if which I think Fear the Walking Dead's going to be, is that majority of characters live. So if the characters live, what's going to be the future for the survivors? Strand, Morgan, Sherry. I was going to say like Dwight, Sherry and Dwight. What's going to happen with them? I don't know. I mean, it depends on what they want to do. I still think Morgan needs to reunite with Rick. Sherry and Dwight need to reunite with Negan somehow, some way. But then how did they not kill him? I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's a lot of cool things to see. But they've kind of painted themselves in a corner. And how they're going to get out. Wait for it to dry. And then they can walk on the paint, I guess, right? So we'll have to see actually what's going to happen with the series and what they're going to do. And the universe continues on, whether we like it or not. So, yeah, we'll see. So it was funny. I posted like a video, it was yesterday, about Skidmark. So Skidmark is supposedly back, and we should see him again in season 8. We saw him, he was brought with Daniel, then he was around, then he wasn't, then he was there minor. We saw him a little bit. And then we haven't seen him, in season 7 and whatever. I don't know where he is, what he's been doing, where he's been. Even though Daniel was on a boat, on a little raft thing, going somewhere. But the rumor is that we're going to see Skidmark. In the 12 episodes, you need to wrap things up. If it's the final 12 episodes, wrap stuff up. Don't ask more questions. Let's answer questions. And if you are going to ask questions, you better answer them in another spinoff or another way, or another thing on there too. So I brought up the idea about Dog being first and then Fear the Walking. Like, Fear the Walking Dead to me is like the discount Dead. It's like, oh, let's do what The Walking Dead does, but we're going to make it on clearance. We're going to make it not as good or do these things. And they've had their moments, and they've had their story arcs and characters. But they were like, okay, Dog is there. Let's have Cat. Right? Let's have another dog. So, and then someone was like fighting with me, because people like to fight now on, the comments. Not now, but always. But to the end of time, people will argue on there too. And they were saying that Skidmark and Rufus are better than Dog. And the only reason people like Dog is because it's Daryl's dog. And that's like kind of a crazy argument to think about, like animals, like who's a better animal and blah, 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 blah. Well, I don't know. Like, are you going to, like, what is that? And I thought about the question. I was like, who is the best animal on The Walking Dead? Is it Shiva? Is it Dog? Is it Skidmark? Is it Rufus? Is it Buttons? Is it like, is it Nelly? And is it Nervous Nelly, the horse that threw Daryl? Is it like, I don't know. Like, what's your point? I mean, it's got to be a character that's done stuff on the show, I mean, it's got to be something important for the characters. But I don't know. It's something that I thought was interesting, and I guess there's no right or wrong answer. But it was just funny. They're like, go back. If you go, like, I'm not going to go back and watch Fear the Walking Dead, like, ever. I've watched every episode. That was more than enough. There's nothing to gain because the show's going to do whatever they want to do. They bring in characters, they kill them off. We didn't see a body, so they can come back. They do this. There's not like huge character development and story arcs that it just doesn't make sense to go back and watch it because the show is all over the place. If I want to get a headache or frustrated, I'll go back and watch Fear the Walking Dead, but it's not that way too. And I think it was your comment, Jeannie, that you were like a cat in the zombie apocalypse makes more sense than a dog. Well, yes and no. Like a house cat or even cats keep to themselves. They can hide up in trees. They can do this, and they would probably get away from the walkers much easier than a dog. A dog would probably walk over to the walkers and then get devoured and bit and, attacked by them. A cat probably wouldn't do that. So yes, a cat's going to live longer than a dog. But the way they have it, cats, Skidmark versus dog. Skidmark was used in a carrier and then came out and went to the window and went to this and did like minor things, right? Dog was involved with stuff. And again, it's not up for debate for, questions because it's for opinion. I'm not going to say like this one's better, that one's there. But it was interesting because dog was first and then the Fear the Walking Dead was like, oh, we need an animal too now because of this. Because I brought up to the point with Strand. Because Strand has a new haircut. He's going to have dreadlocks. And he's basically got the Michonne haircut, but on the other side, where it's side shade there too. And they're like, it's more like Ezekiel. Why? Because it's a man? No. Ezekiel he's got feathers in his hair. He's got, the dreadlocks throughout the entire hair. He has no side shave on there. And I was like, it looks more like Michonne. And it was just a thing where I was like, come on, Fear the Walking Dead is just trying to be more there. Which was frustrating because at the beginning, you didn't want anything to do with the Walking Dead universe. The first 3 seasons, they were like, we're our own show, we're going to do this. And they're like, well, this isn't going to work. So you just wasted 3 seasons for the 4th season to just be a reboot, basically, of it and just do-over. Well, remember all that stuff you learned about? Nah, it doesn't matter because who cares about any of those characters? The characters that survived are what that matter. And, season 4 was like Morgan show takes over, and there you go. But that's just my take on it. It's just interesting to see. I don't know, but, it's just, yeah. And Doreen says the whole tower arc was great. Like, and that's the epitome of Fear the Walking Dead in a nutshell. The tower was great in theory, was a great idea, was a good thing for them to battle over, fight over, try to get control. But the execution of it was terrible. We were supposed to see Strand versus Morgan. Never happened. How does Strand live? He tried to kill Morgan on the submarine. Like, that doesn't make sense. Like, if someone did that to you, you're just not going to let it go, right? Then taking Baby Mo and doing this, and you're like, Strand. It was just like, what am I watching here? It's just so dumb because season 6 was so good and season 7 was terrible. And that's basically, in my opinion, what Fear the Walking Dead is. A good idea, a good concept, good in theory, terrible in execution. And I'd rather have better execution than great ideas. You got to execute them, though. It has to be, done in a way that makes sense. But I'm glad Fear the Walking Dead is going to be over. Going to watch to the end. Cujo versus dog. Come on, man. It's got to. Well, the dog is connected with Daryl, so dog ain't going to die. So I guess dog takes out Cujo. It's just my guess. Yeah. So again, the idea of a submarine, the Navy, the military and stuff, good idea, poor execution. Good idea, and it's kind of terrible. So Kelly Dye asks a question: how many cats are used for the role of Skidmark, and what are their names let's dive in. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't even know the answer. How many cats are there? Because usually if you have kid actors, like children, like Judith, the young Judith was twins. And they do that for a reason, for filming, for different scenes. One may be temperamental, one may be happy, one may be this. So you use that, and probably also filming so many hours in a day is probably how they do it with twins. But I don't know about animals. Like, as far as I know, there's been one dog, and it's named Seven. And she's, the dog that was playing the role of dog is Seven since we've seen dog on the show. But I don't know. I don't know how many cats there are to play Skidmark. That's a good question. That big zombie kid. I do agree that Fear the Walking Dead is all over the place and nothing makes sense. And it's a shame because, like, I just picture The Walking Dead doing really well, and so the executives are like, we need another Walking Dead. Like, let's put it. It's a I don't know, magic in a bottle. Let's write it down. Let's bottle up The Walking Dead and then write it down and boom, another Walking Dead. Yeah, like it's that simple, right? Like you can just emulate what it's going to be. Boom, love it. And Mike, I haven't seen the latest episode of Mayor of Kingstown. Is the finale next week? I'm guessing we haven't watched it because I got up and this and stuff around the house. Next thing you know, boom, live stream. So I haven't seen it yet. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Mayor of Kingstown. But like I said, I'm worried because Jeremy Rayner's injury is going to hurt that show because how can he continue on? He's still rehabbing and trying to make sense of day-to-day life, let alone walk around and do the stuff he's been doing as the action sequences and stuff he does on his shows. So I don't know. But yeah, Fear the Walking Dead, I just wish was better. Like I said, it was a good idea, but I don't know. The Mandalorian, Rob Cases, I still have to watch Mando, and that's why we're watching Mandalorian as well. So I'm not going to give anything away, but The Mandalorian has been good for the first 2 episodes. I want you to watch it, Rob K. I won't talk about it. It's another good episode, though. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be 10 episodes. I'm sure Mayor of Kingstown will be 10 episodes. But yeah, so we'll have to see what I got to see the latest episode anyway too. Yeah. So like I said, today is Daylight Savings, The Last of Us Season 1 finale. But also, if you like college basketball, it's Selection Sunday. So it's got a big day for college basketball to see where the brackets fill up, where your team's going to be, if your team makes the tournament or not. And I think college basketball, March Madness, is one of the best sporting events, things there is, because anybody can beat anybody in that sport, and you have to play so many different games to get to the final. And it's just an awesome sequence, too, and underdogs and that, and it's a fun thing to watch, especially if you're doing March Madness pools and brackets and this. So you're worried about every game. You're worried about the first games to get in and to the final games if you got it or not, especially if your team's doing well. And I'm excited there as well, too. So Michael Singer says, let's go Duke. I'm a Duke fan as well. We'll have to see what Shire does as the new coach, and he's doing pretty well, for his first season, winning the ACC tournament. So I would assume Duke will probably be a 2 seed, and we'll see where they end up, and hopefully they can make a good run. I don't know if they'll win it all. I got to see where they match up and who would be in their way, but I think Duke's got a good chance. I'm always going to be watching, and they're a pretty good team. They're a young team, obviously, just like so many college teams are, but we'll see how it goes too. Johnny asks, I got a question. Do you think we will get the Walking Dead Telltale spinoff and go back and play What Happened to Kenny before we met Sarita? Haven't met. I've never played I never really played the Telltale games after the first game. A little bit. I played a little bit of it, but it's just not for me. When you basically have to make decisions and do this, I'm more of an open world person where you get to go around like Grand Theft Auto style. But I don't know. I know a lot of people want to see the Clementine stuff, but it just doesn't fit because a lot of these characters don't fit in the Walking Dead show series, and I don't know about, just how it would connect and how they have to do with the money wise, and if you have to pay Telltale for the characters and how Clementine fits with that story. I don't know. Jonathan Wilder, do you see three Nightmare on Elm Street have a return like Halloween did? I don't know. I don't know about John. I don't know about Nightmare on Elm Street stuff. I mean, the Halloween stuff makes sense because of Jamie Lee Curtis and, the people are still around and wanted to be a part of it. But I don't know. I hope so. And Mike said, he asks, what about spinoff about Taka from Fear the Walking Dead? I think he can make a good. I hope so. I would love to see Cal Taka and Crazy Dog. I would love them to come back, but I think, you brought Madison back, but for the final season, I don't know if bringing them back makes sense, because then that was a season 3 thing and just the reboots, and we already have too many characters. But I do like those characters. It would be kind of cool to see. Yeah, I wouldn't mind having them come back too. So, all right, guys, that's my hour. Hopefully the stream was better this time. I think the video was much better, and hopefully the audio was just as good, if not better. But I'll be back next Sunday for our live stream to talk about all things Walking Dead and The Last of Us Season 1 finale that airs tonight on HBO. But let me know your thoughts. Post your comments below. Thank you, guys. I truly appreciate love and support. And remember, guys, with hard work, dedication, belief, and sacrifice, you can truly achieve your goals. Believe in yourself. You can do it. Keep working hard. I'll be back next Sunday. Enjoy tonight's episodes if you watch.